Small press is great. It's fantastic. And if you don't think it's great, you're wrong. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you why you're wrong if you don't think small press is great. So here we go. Small press is great for three main reasons. It's great because of the writing, the community, look at those ugly mugs, and the art. So let's go through them all. Writing is the best thing about small press. It's the meat, it's the world you get caught up in. It's the writer's way to weave their story into your head, and it's the thing that goes into the dialogue boxes. And let's look at some really great examples of that over on the next slide. MPCT, done by the fantastic Sarah Millman, is a story about an ex-firewoman, an elf, and a magicless human as they attempt to save a failing tea shop in modern-day Cardiff. Now, that's amazing. It's Cardiff. They're doing stories about Cardiff, and who would have thought that was a real place? I just assumed that, the trains went through these places a bit like, it's a joke. But no, in all seriousness, it's this great story, and it really weaves in the sort of the fantastical world of Tolkien and modern-day Cardiff. Now, Periwinkle is kind of almost the opposite end of the spectrum. It's a superhero comic where you're looking at this cancer patient who's going through this horrible disease, actually one I had myself, and creates this manifestation of her fight against cancer. And in that sense, it's incredibly well done. It's incredibly thought out. And finally, human beings. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, I've read The Human Beings by Stuart J. McCune, I don't know, 4 or 5 times now, and I'm still struggling with it. And that's great. I love the fact that every time I read this book, I come back with something new, and really that's what writing in the small press can be about. It can be about this whole discovery and this whole kind of it's not strained in by years of backlog. It can be its own thing, and it can be really free, and that's really fantastic. The best thing about small press is the art. The art. Oh, it opens up the pages and it leaps out to you. And it really, it can make or break a story, frankly. And it's just fantastic, the shading, the textures, the image people get across. And let's look over again some other examples, some really cracking art in the world of small press. Right, well, I hope you are sitting down because this is going to be a busy old slide. So let's start off with Chris Imber's The Last Sheriff. Now, look at this page. You don't need to know anything about the character. You don't need to know anything about what's going on or what's happened previously to know what's going on in this page. Look at the physicality. Look at the muscularity, the movement, the fluidity, the shifting perspective. You know exactly what's going on and you feel it because it's so visceral. Now, moving on to something slightly different. This is Trolltooth Wars, done by Gavin Mitchell. It's obviously an adaptation of the story by Steve Jackson. Now, the thing I love about this page particularly is the goblins. Now, the thing of all the goblins is there's maybe, I don't know, half a dozen goblins there, maybe a dozen. And every goblin has a character. Every scar, every sword, every ponytail says something different about that goblin. And that is fantastic. You could have just honed it in and no one would have really noticed, but look at this page. Look at this, fantastic. And finally, one of my personal favourites is Mob. Now, this page is, on its base, it's 2 mice having a chat, driving a car. Now, do you know where else mice drove a car? Stuart fucking Little. Look at this. Look at this crap. It's terrible. And then look back at the comic page. It's brilliant. And the budget that went into the comic page is so much less than the budget that went into making this rubbish movie. Let's get rid of this. Off you go. And in return, mouse on a motorbike. Now again, you look at these two together and they look natural. And I can't imagine mice being in vehicles any other way now because this looks so natural and so clean and so well done that it's a really testament to how great the art is in these pages. I kind of put this slide in as like a little bonus for myself. Because I saw this cover and it just grabbed me and how absolutely amazing it is. Now, I want everyone to check they're sitting down, they're not with small children, because I'm going to put on something pretty scary now. This rubbish. What the hell was going on this page? What's that little head for? What's that little head doing there? It's incredible. And then we go back to White Noir, and it's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's an art. It's an art form. It really is, making decent covers and making decent art. And it's really where small press just goes off. Go away with you, Captain America. Away with you. But yeah, this is just such a lovely, lovely page. And yeah, I really just wanted to highlight it because of how beautiful it is. The best thing about small press is the community. A bit slower than I thought without transition, but yes, it's the best thing. Let's go through it now. It's weird to think of community when you talk about reading comics, because comics is primarily a solo thing. You sit in your room, or you sit on your bike, as this little captain's doing, and you read Superman or you read Batman, and you read it, and then you put it on the shelf, and then you collect another one and go from there. But really, community has become such a big thing in comics, and it's all thanks to you guys. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the Awesome Comics Pod. It was one that got me going into it, the one that got me started. But then over time, other ones are coming along as well. Ones that I've learned from the Awesome Comics Pod, like the 11 O'Clock Podcast or the Orbiting Pod. And they've really built up these communities around them. And it's absolutely fantastic. Now, everyone knows the Awesome Comics Talk group on Facebook is perhaps the best place on Facebook. But this thread came up a few days ago, and it really just emphasised what is so great about this group. 30-something people have signed up, and they've all gone along and said, yep, I will draw something for a fellow member of the group. And it's just fantastic. We've got sort of like this group that supports each other and talks to each other. It's just brilliant. And I mean, well done, Sam, for organising this, but just generally, what a fantastic thing this is, and what a fantastic addition to community this is for small press. Now, the best thing about small press are the hotties. Now, you might be saying to me, Tom, what are you talking about? But no, there are some real beefcakes. Look at this bad boy. Look at those guns. Look at that smile. But he's not the only one. There's also this lovely chappy. Look at those clean lines, and look at that chin. Oh. And then there's this beautiful group. This fantastic, sexy group of people. Now, hold on a second. Who's that sat down in the corner? That's not by... Oh, there we go. There's a money shot. And with that, I think I'm done. I think that's why small press is great. These sexy mofos. Thanks so much.